Ahoy, mateys! Welcome aboard my podcast. I am Jason with Jay's Paradise Travels. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about my experience with San Juan, Puerto Rico. Before I get into it, a little housekeeping to do. First off, if you would like to go on vacation, specifically a cruise, or San Juan, Puerto Rico, whether it's on a cruise or on its own, feel free to reach out to me. You could reach out to me in a couple different ways. One of them is through email. My email is j.paradise_travels@gmail.com. That's jay.paradise_travels@gmail.com. You can email me, or you could reach out to me either through Facebook or Instagram. My account is Jay's Paradise Travels, Jays, no apostrophe in that. Jay's Paradise Travels, and you can reach out to me either one of those ways. Be happy to help you out. All right, so let me talk about my experience with San Juan, Puerto Rico. I just recently got off a Virgin Voyage cruise. Other podcasts have my experience with that. I encourage you to listen to it. San Juan was the second of 4 stops that we did on that itinerary. Those other 3 stops are in other podcasts. I encourage you to take a listen to that. And San Juan, Puerto Rico is a place that when I looked at the itinerary, it was one of the ones that I have actually been to before. This was actually my 3rd time going to San Juan. And I want to talk about some of the other times as well, in addition, because this is my experience with San Juan, Puerto Rico, not only on that Virgin cruise, but on other ones from the past as well. The very first time that I ever went to San Juan, Puerto Rico, I was 18 or 19. It was my first, it wasn't my first ever cruise. My first ever cruise, I was about 10 years old. I was with my mom's parents that live in the state, my grandparents on her side, and we were visiting my grandparents on my dad's side in Greece. And I was in Greece for a month with all my grandparents. And while out there, we did take a week-long cruise. And I was like 10 when we went on that trip. I don't remember, I remember it, but not all details. Um, Nor did I appreciate that I was on a cruise. I was 10 years old. When I was out there when I was younger, all I cared about was video games. Now, as I'm older, I definitely appreciate it a lot more. So from the time I was 10, when I took that cruise, that was technically my first ever cruise, up until the time where I was 18, where I finally went on a cruise from one of the ones here in the States. It was a roughly 8-year period there. Uh, when I went on the next cruise, the second cruise, the first one out of the ones that are originating out of the States, that was on Royal Caribbean. My first time on Royal Caribbean, I was on the Explorer of the Seas, and that's where I fell in love with going on cruises. And our very first stop when we were at Royal Caribbean on that cruise was to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And there it was a little interesting. I haven't really done this much on other cruise lines except for maybe Celestial, but the day that we went into San Juan, Puerto Rico when we were on Royal Caribbean, we were only there at nighttime. We were only there for like 4 hours. That's something that I haven't experienced at all since then, except for the when I went on Celestial and we went to like Santorini. I encourage you to take a listen to those podcasts as well. Other than that, they've all been all day long stops wherever we've been. But my first cruise out of the States that I consider kind of like my first cruise, um, our first stop on that was to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And we ended up going on a little bus tour that went around Old San Juan. And I don't remember a ton. I remember being able to see the fort, and it was at night, and it was dark. It was pretty good. But we ended up meeting a lot of friends on that bus tour, and eventually a bunch of friends on the ship too. So that was kind of cool. That was a nice first experience there, even though I can't remember everything. And I was a teenager. This is way before camera phones, way before pictures. I wasn't even into taking pictures. Um, this was way before that. So I don't have any pictures of that trip to be able to share. Fast forward years later, now I'm not a teenager anymore. I've grown up. I'm in my, oh, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s, however long ago it was. And now I'm married, and we go on this cruise on Celebrity. It was a jazz themed cruise. One of the stops that we went to was San Juan, Puerto Rico. Another stop we had went to was the Dominican Republic, and I actually referred to it and talked about that in another podcast. One of the stops that we went on this Virgin one was Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. So I discussed that in that. I encourage you to listen to that podcast as well. But on that same cruise, that same jazz themed cruise that we went to, we did go to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And the time that we went there, my mom had gained a friend in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So she ended up visiting with her. We did eventually visit with her too. I got to meet her for the first time. I had heard stories about her, and it was nice to be able to meet her in person. And she had a dog that she loved, and we got to meet the dog too. Some other friends we got to meet as well, which was really nice. And in and around the port, we were there, and there was pictures I took of like it's like old ships. I don't know if they were pirate ships, but old ships, and some other pictures I got to see of the dock and the water, and other buildings that were there. Very beautiful island to go to. Very colorful with the buildings, which is really nice. And obviously, of course, gorgeous palm trees, and there's Old San Juan, and I think there's like New San Juan too, if I remember correctly. We even got to go on a tour, like a bus tour. Met another friend on that as well, and got to go to see different sites. Uh, we got to do different shopping. I think the fort, went to the beach. And in fact, there was a picture that we took at the beach, me and Selena, that to this day I still have it. I keep it on my desk here, and it's me and Selena on the beach. That's in Puerto Rico, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Um, I'm kind of interesting. So I've got this and another picture from that same vacation that I switch out every month. Actually, I need to change it to this because every month I change it and it's a new month now. I've been gone. Anyways, so that picture was taken there. We were at the beach. We had a nice time. Again, met a friend on the bus, kept in contact. Still reach out and talk to her to this day. She even recently got married, which was really nice. After we had that bus tour and we got to see like the different uh, history of Puerto Rico, with the beaches and the nice buildings and the shopping, we met up with my mom. She was with her friend. And because Selena is half Puerto Rican, this was kind of nice for her to be able to, see her roots a little bit, just like if I went to Greece. And one of the things we wanted to do when we got there was eat some authentic Puerto Rican rice and beans. And we did. We went to a local restaurant. We got rice and beans. We got plantains. Very delicious. Very good. A little more costly than I thought it was going to be, but it's not like we do that every day. So we ended up getting that. Very tasty. And continue to walk around the city. As I mentioned, just beautiful. Beautiful city with regards to colors. I love the colors in Puerto Rico. That was many years ago. All right, so fast forward again now to 2025. We go on this Virgin cruise, and as I looked on the itinerary, I was excited. I was going to try a lot of new things. I was going to try Virgin for the first time. I was going to go to some other places for the first time. San Juan was not a first time thing, but from many years ago, these past two experiences, I remember I love San Juan. It's a great place to visit. Selena is half Puerto Rican. We love it there, so I'm cool with going back to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and so that's what we did. As we're now, we got in there a little bit later this time, so I don't know if that's a thing now because I think about it. Like the first time I went to Royal Caribbean, we were there at night for like only a few hours or so. From what I remember, the last cruise, I think that was like a normal during the day type of thing. This one we were getting in later, and I say later, we weren't docking at 6, 7 in the morning. That's what I mean. We were coming in like around 11. We were staying from like 11 to 9. That kind of time frame, which is not always typical when you go on a cruise to a stop. But I do remember since because of that, we didn't rush out of our rooms. We ended up kind of chilling out in the morning. I remember going out on the balcony for a little while, and eventually we went and got something to eat. Again, we weren't rushing. Uh, as we were this particular morning, we had breakfast. We got it up on deck 15, which was the galley, bunch of different food options up there. I talk about all those food options in my podcast about Virgin, so I encourage you to take a look at that. Anyways, we get breakfast and we head out to the back of the ship. In the back of the ship, there's a nice area where you could sit down. We had breakfast there. Our friends and my dad eventually, showed up too. We were kind of all together, and eventually kind of went our own different ways. But as we're back there eating breakfast, finishing up breakfast, we're pulling into port, you know. And as we're doing that, I see, and there's like the fort that they have right off the water, an old fort. That's I think you can go see as part of a tour. And I think we had seen before. It was kind of cool to go see. Nice little history there with that. We're pulling up, and we're docking, and there's some other cruise lines that are there too that we're going to be near. So one of them was Viking. Viking had a smaller ship, and as I've mentioned in my previous podcast, Virgin isn't exactly like a mega ship either. Um, so Viking was even smaller than that. There was another one that I didn't quite recognize, didn't quite catch the name, um, something that was unfamiliar. And then in between those was Princess Sun, I think it was, and that was a pretty big. So it was going to be us, Viking, Princess Sun, the other one. Um, we pull into port and eventually go our separate ways to uh, to get ready. Our friends ended up kind of doing their own thing, which was fine. And then we went back to our room, got ready. I remember going out on the balcony again, looking out, and I'm seeing uh, where my view is. There's the water, obviously. I see an airport across the way, the shore, coastline, whatever you want to call it, with the city. And there's people out there like surfing, or it was like it wasn't, they weren't surfing the waves. It was some sort of motorized surfing that they were in. I saw one and I saw another person join them. They were kind of doing their own thing. I thought that was kind of cool. Like, uh, I wonder where you get those. How do you do that? I don't know. Not that I'm going to do it, but I just thought it was kind of cool. So nice view. On the other side of the ship, when we were coming in, I saw not only the fort, but then you had also other parts of the city that you could see too, other buildings. So very nice views, as always when you're on a cruise ship. Very nice views. But as we're getting into it, starts raining on us. Not hard, but it's raining as we're trying to look at these nice views. It started raining. Well, it was raining. It was kind of going on and off, from light drizzle to harder, back and forth. It would stop, and all day. It ended up being like that all day. Anyways, we get off. Eventually, though, me, Selena, my dad, we meet up. We get off the ship, and as we're doing it, as we're getting off, we end up seeing some of the dancers from the show that we'd seen a couple nights ago. Got to introduce ourselves, talk with them. They were nice enough, not like overly friendly or anything. They probably wanted their own private time, but nice enough, anyways. They told us where they were from. Thought that was kind of cool. They were from all over. So we get off, we meet them, then we start walking into city. Now we're going towards Old San Juan. It's covered, and I think we brought umbrellas and ponchos. Um, and basically from there we started walking over towards Old San Juan. I don't know if we were exactly in it, or it's all part of whatever, but we were walking towards the inner part of the city, and uh, they had different streets we were going down. Got to meet some friends, which was nice, and all these different streets. It kind of reminds me of being in Europe a little bit almost, but it's just they're so nice, so beautiful. They're so colorful. Like I love the colors in San Juan. It's you got green and blue and pink and different shades of them. Just all over, just so many different kinds. I really like the colors of them. Really nice. We eventually got to a point where it was kind of like a information center. I think we were looking for a certain thing, but maybe I'd move or whatever. We kept walking, got to another point. Again, we're walking through the streets, and as we're doing that, we are going in and out of the shops. We're looking at, for souvenirs. We did get to some kind of town square area, which I had a nice fountain there. And I'm looking around again, just beautiful buildings with beautiful colors. Really nice, very very pretty to look at. But again, it's kind of rainy today, this day, and because of it, it makes the ground very very slippery. It was a little difficult to walk when it was raining so hard. Um, but we were able to do it. We got through it. At one point, though, when I went back to one store and I got this shirt, we were heading back to it, and it was raining really hard. Selena was like, "I'm just going to stay here," because she was having difficulty walking the street. So me and my dad went ahead and got it. She had offered me to have the poncho, and I was like, no, it's okay. And then later on, when it poured even harder, I was like, yeah, I should have got the poncho. Oh well, no poncho. I got. My dad had a coat. He let me borrow it. That kind of helped. Um, so I was able to get that, and we went back to see if we could maybe get one of those tours like we had gotten before. Because I thought the tour was nice. I wouldn't mind to see the fort again. By the time we got back, though, they were kind of all gone. I think they probably got taken by somebody. Somebody probably booked them, and so they weren't available to us. And at that point, it was kind of rainy. We'd been walking in the rain a lot and kind of tired. There wasn't any, so we ended up just kind of going back on the ship and calling it a day from there. Uh, there was a lot of there was as I mentioned in other podcasts with because in this one we were on Virgin, and Virgin has an app that you can have that you can book excursions through their app. And I remember when we were looking through San Juan, Puerto Rico, there's some ones that look really good, but they were sold out. And I was like, man, that would have been really nice. And I don't mind every now and then, we've done certain stops where we just don't do anything. We go out, we walk around, we shop around, look at stores, see if there's any souvenirs, gifts. I got, the shirt. And that's all you do. That to me isn't quite getting the experience, but it's getting some of the experience, and it's better than nothing, I suppose. And that's kind of what we ended up doing. I think the rain kind of um, put a damper on the day too, to do some of those things. Even if we would have booked it, that probably would have put a little bit of damper on the day. For those that did book excursions and got to do them, I'm sure it affected them. How? I don't know. I didn't really get to talk to them, but I'm sure it did. Uh, it is what it is. You can't control the weather. But I will say that San Juan, Puerto Rico is a beautiful place to visit. The first time I went there, the first ever cruise, I thought was uh, so nice. Second time when we went around again and we got to take another tour, and it was a it was there was a mixture of things, as I mentioned. We got to go to see, I mean, anything from the beach to, um, I mean, we saw like, the local government buildings, um, to some shops, to the fort. It was just a wide variety of different things. Beautiful scenery. It's a gorgeous place to visit. It really is. And I think if you do get to go and have some time there, that you would really really love it a lot. I know I did. We would have liked to have maybe done a little bit more, stayed a little longer. We actually did stay kind of a decent amount of time, but we did have dinner reservations kind of early, and so and it was raining. So we did go back to the ship and just kind of called it a day. We could have maybe even gone out later when it stopped raining, and we could have seen maybe some more, walked around a little bit more. But that's okay. Um, at the end of it, I was on my balcony again, just kind of looking out as we were leaving it. And on the side that we were looking at it was the water and all the other area. It was the other side that had all the ships, and we left kind of late. So in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, we're probably the last ones out here. There's probably nobody left. And then we turn and we go, and as we turn around and start headed out, there's Viking still at their pier. They hadn't left yet. It's possible that they were staying 2 nights because some itineraries will include an overnight stay at a place. So it's possible that they did it. I don't know if that was the case, but it's possible. But they were still there. So they were either staying overnight or they were leaving right after us. And as we were going out, beautiful night view. I feel like I use that word a lot, beautiful, but it was very stunning. Um, I look ahead and I see there's Princess. They're just leaving. They left a little bit before us, but they're on their way out too. So that's at least three. I didn't see what the other one was, whatever that other cruise line was. Didn't see where they went, but anyway. So there's three that were staying late there. So I don't know. Maybe they have different government, a little different with them. I don't know. Whatever it is, but stay a little late. And they are part of. I mean, they're affiliated with the U.S. So if you go there, I don't think you need a passport, even if you go on your own. That's kind of a nice little bonus if you decide that you do want to go and see this gorgeous town with this gorgeous scenery, gorgeous buildings and colors. It's nice, nice place to visit. And if you do want to go, let me know. If you want to go just on view it on your own, or you want when I say on your own, that means not attached to a cruise, or if you want to go on a cruise that goes there. Either way, let me know. I'd be happy to help you with that. Again, you can reach out to me at j.paradise.travels@gmail.com. jay.paradise.travels@gmail.com. You could also reach out to me through Instagram or Facebook, Jay's Paradise Travels, Jays, Jay's Paradise Travels. That's another way to get a hold of me, either on Instagram or Facebook. Also got some pictures posted on there as well, so feel free to look at those. And I'd be happy to help you with that. So I hope you liked it, this podcast. I was trying to think if there's any other things that I'm missing. I know that second time I went around, I felt like I got to do the most on that second time around. That tour really did take us to a lot of different things. And they were very pretty to look at. I don't remember what everything was. I remember there was a government building and some of its surrounding areas that we went to. I do remember there are different buildings that I saw, took pictures of. Very nice. Just like on this one, I kept taking pictures of the streets and how pretty they were. Um, and other different scenic things. I just don't remember what specifically they were. So if you do go, maybe you can find out and you can see it for yourself. But yeah, that 2 hour tour that we took that second time around, in addition to what we saw before and after, was really nice. Was really impressive. It was just so long ago, I can't remember specifically what everything was. I'm trying to remember. I want to be able to give you something. I want to entertain you and educate you at the same time if possible. But hopefully you did enjoy this podcast, and hopefully maybe whet your appetite to want to go. Again, if so, let me know. And if you did, please like the video itself. Please subscribe to the channel, and please share it with other people too. The podcast, as well as Jay's Paradise Travels, to continue to try to build up a business and want to be able to get my name out there to others and help book everyone's travels. All those other things that keep podcasters going definitely is needed. So feel free to do all that. So again, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to everyone again another time. Take care. Bye bye.